And now's the time to have the fight, because this is clearly not a one-off. My reporting on this strategy is that this is not a one-off operation, that they have a multi-phased and multilateral, right, many countries involved, coordinated effort ready to go based on how the Houthis and Hezbollah respond step by step. So now's the time to have the conversation. I don't blame presidents for taking power offered to them. All right, the check is on Congress's side. They should be doing that. Now, Commander, to the idea of mission creep here, you have to believe that the Houthis, given their martyr culture, they're probably going to strike again. So what does that mean in terms of what we can expect in terms of kinetic activity in the region?
Well, I think one of the things you need to consider, Chris, is everyone is worried about an expansion of the current conflict going on between Israel and Hamas. And when you look at what Iran has done over literally decades, they have surrounded the entire Middle East region in their proxies in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen, and they are now exercising that power to try and destabilize the region. They're the #1 state sponsor of terrorism. And when you look at how the presidents have to exercise power, one of the responsibilities in the executive is to ensure that U.S. national interests are safeguarded around the world. And occasionally that means that we have to act in a defensive manner by projecting power rather than always being reactive and having to take the hit first. So while there's that dynamic tension between the congressional role in what they need to do in declaring war versus the executive branch's role in being able to exercise the power, when you look at what the Houthis did, they're going to try and project power again. And if necessary, we can strike them. But at the end of the day, the United States is going to have to work with Congress and our allies around the world, because Iran is in an undeclared state of war with the United States and has been since 1979. And multiple administrations have abdicated their responsibility to hold them account for killing hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans over several years.
I mean, Bill, it really does seem that this is it. We are on the precipice, and it's not something that I look forward to. It's not something I want. I'm not anxious to leave my family and go cover it, but I will. But whether it's on their terms or on the allies' terms, this looks like it's going to continue. So where is that urgency for soft power? You want to say we're not in a proxy war? Fine. But then shouldn't this administration be muscling up on the soft power and other avenues to get Iran to sit down?
Well, as a result of this particular activity, the price of oil has gone up. Who benefits from that? Iran benefits from that. Putin benefits from that. And we shouldn't leave him out of this picture, because Iran wouldn't be the power that it is in the region without support from Moscow. And without support from Iran, you wouldn't have the Houthis or Hezbollah or the Hamas and Hezbollah. You wouldn't have them, because they wouldn't be able to afford and wouldn't have the technology, wouldn't have the equipment, wouldn't have the funds without support from Iran, and ultimately coming back to Moscow, because Putin is behind the scenes supporting that whole axis of interest.
So what's the missing piece, Bill? What do we need to do that we're not doing?
Well, we need to, as been pointed out by the commander, we need to galvanize the international community as such, saying Iran poses a really serious threat to world stability and world economy. Because if you see this taking place, I think the Houthis will react and fire off more missiles, or they'll go through Hezbollah or in Syria or in other places in Iraq, for example. I think they will try to have asymmetric attacks upon our forces there. I don't think they're in a position right now to have a major refunding or resupply of their munitions that we destroyed, but it's going to happen. And so what we have to do is get the world community to say, Iran is really a destabilizer of the world economy, ultimately, because their motto is death to the Jews in Israel, death to America. And so their motto, and the reason that fellow wouldn't answer your question, is that is what drives them. They want death to Jews and death to America. And that's something that they've said repeatedly, publicly, and now they need to acknowledge it. We need to have that front and center before the UN and the American people.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.